Radio. This is Pet Life Radio. Let's talk pets.
This show is brought to you by Pet King Brands, the makers of Zymox and Oratine.
It's Oh Behave with Arden Moore, the show that teaches you how to have harmony in the household with your pets. Join Arden as she travels coast to coast to help millions better understand why cats and dogs do what they do. Get the latest scoop on famous faces, their perfectly pampered pets, and who's walking who in Rin Tin Tinseltown. From famous pet experts and best-selling authors to television and movie stars, you'll get the latest buzz from wagging tongues and tails. Garner great pet tips and have a doggone fur-flying fun time. So get ready for the pause and applause as we unleash your Oh Behave host, America's pet edutainer, Arden Moore.
Welcome to the Oh Behave show on Pet Life Radio. I'm your host, Arden Moore. Our special guest today is making a repeat visit to our show. Since she last appeared, she's not been sitting on the sofa, sucking down bonbons. She's become a leading pet safety expert, a professional certified dog trainer, a stellar dog agility coach, and, my favorite, the proud pet mama to a superstar in dog agility, a boxer named Debbie. Please welcome back to the show, the one and only Cara Armour. Welcome to the show, Cara.
Thanks for having me, Arden. I'm so glad to be back.
All right, Cara is in the house. She's going to help us be better humans for our pets, especially during this crazy pandemic and beyond, because there will be life beyond this pandemic. I'm betting by the end of the show, folks, she will have inspired and motivated you to bring out the best in your pets. But you know the drill. We got to pay for this show, so we're going to take this commercial break. Sit and stay. We'll be right back.
Time for a pause. 4 furry ones, actually. Sit and stay. Oh Behave will be right back.
Hey everybody, Arden Moore here. Now, for generations, you have to agree, James Herriot's memoirs, All Creatures Great and Small, plus his other book, All Things Bright and Beautiful, have enchanted animal lovers like us for many, many years. Great news! Nicholas Ralph, the star of the upcoming PBS Masterpiece series, is bringing to life the unforgettable world of James Herriot and his menagerie of heartwarming, funny, and tragic animal patients, full of charm and wit. These brand new audiobooks are the perfect way to delve into the magical stories of the world's most beloved veterinarian. The All Creatures Great and Small, plus the All Things Bright and Beautiful audiobooks are available now wherever audiobooks are sold. Take a listen.
Let's Talk Pets on PetLifeRadio.com. Oh Behave is back with more tail-wagging ways to achieve harmony in the household with your pets. Now back to your fetching host, America's pet edutainer, Arden Moore.
Welcome back to the Oh Behave show on Pet Life Radio. I'm your host, Arden Moore. I think the first time I met our special guest, Cara Armour, I'm trying to date back. It's got to be at least a dozen years ago at a pet sitting conference.
It was 2009 to be specific, and the only reason I remember that year is because I had won the Pet Sitter of the Year award.
Yes, from Pet Sitter International.
Yes.
I believe I saw you at a round table. Is that how we met? I congratulated
I believe
you.
So. I just remember chatting up conversation with you, and you were one of the most interesting people at that conference. And I was like, I need to know this woman.
Well, congratulations on winning the award, and my condolences on still being my friend.
That was the best thing I took away from that conference.
Well, she does a lot in the Boston area for dogs and pets. She's the product manager of Pro Pet Hero. This is a great group. You got to check it out. It's an online pet first aid CPR program for pets and their people. And full disclosure, I is their instructor. Do you like my grammar? For teaching people in a 2-day program to become certified in pet first aid instructors in our veterinarian approved, got that? Hyphenated, very important, double modifier, veterinarian approved program. But we're going to talk about that in a bit. But in her spare time, I'm joking, her spare time, she's become a certified professional dog trainer, and she travels very safely these days with her boxers, Debbie and Walter. the number 1 and number 4 American Kennel Club Agility boxers. Whew. Wait a minute, I got to take a breath. I got to catch my breath. Brava, Cara, brava. I mean, when is the last time you ever got maybe like 8 hours, 9 hours of solid sleep?
The first lockdown.
So what motivates you? I mean, really, I do admire all you're doing because you're not letting COVID kick you to the couch.
No, and I was actually just talking with you earlier about how my pandemic pets are in the other room because I think at this point they're sick of me.
Oh, home and leave us alone. We want to have some doggy nap time. But you do have dogs in your house and one cool cat with a cool name. Can you give a little 411 shout out to your
Yes,
feline bud?
Yep, and you might hear her, rub against the microphone and leave her little signature purr. We call her a cement mixer, but this is Kit Kat, not to be confused with the candy, but with the
Aw.
1980s Thundercats cartoon that my husband and I grew up with. So
And she's a cutie. She's a tuxedo cat, right?
she is. She is a domestic short-haired tuxedo. She's 14 going on 4.
Nice.
Yeah, she's
And how is she? Is she the ruler of the roost with your beautiful baby boxers?
Oh, yes. Yes, she
Okay.
gets to do whatever she wants, including get on the counter and occasionally knock food down for them. You
Yeah,
know?
well, it's a tag team effort, right?
Yeah, they're friends. They definitely enjoy her efforts.
So let's talk about COVID. And it threw a mighty mean spitball, curveball. I'm trying to do all my baseball analogies, striking out many people in the professional pet industry. We're talking people that operate boarding facilities, people that are professional pet sitters. I know personally myself, my days of being in person, teaching pet first aid with my dog and cat, Kona and Casey, are now relegated to us teaching via Zoom, live and interactive. So give us a little take on the pulse of the pet industry in regards to this crappy pandemic.
In the beginning in March, it was scary. I think for anybody in any industry, except for online education.
Phew, thank God.
It just be the unknowns. And I think right now we're in a surge. So I always tell people I'm in Massachusetts and our state went from a stay-at-home order back in, April, May to now
Right.
we're at a travel ban. Same story, different way to write it. And it's,
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
basically please just stay home. So it's important that while a lot of us can work from home, we have pets to care about, but we also have a lot of people what COVID did do. So to get back to your question about the businesses, it crushed a lot because
Yeah.
people didn't travel. They were staying home. They didn't need dog walkers. I know I have a dog walking business as well. We dropped significantly in that. And first few weeks, I'm not going to lie, I sat on my hands and I said, oh, what am I supposed to do? And then that's just not me. Anybody that knows me knows that's not me. And I first dissected everything I had in front of me. And one of those things was Pro Pet Hero and my training. Okay, dog walking. I can't stop people working from home. I do want to say thank you. And I hope some of you have experienced this to some of the clients that paid us whether we came or not. I mean,
Nice.
the generosity that happened during the beginning of this pandemic and still continuing on has been phenomenal.
Nice.
So what I did was this was a great time for everybody to really, really take a hard look at their business, a really objective look at how things are running. And then, because all we can do is predict and hope,
Right.
how can you function in a
and
pandemic?
buy a few lottery tickets.
Yes, yes.
Yes, guilty.
Oh, yes. So I really sat back and looked at things and I said, okay, Pro Pet Hero, which is, we have 2 different course options there. We have our online veterinary instructed, pre-recorded pet first aid and CPR certification course. It's wonderful for pet owners and it's wonderful for pet care professionals.
It's like 2 hours roughly, self-paced, right?
Yes. And so that's good. That's not going anywhere. Okay. So I'm going to put that in a basket. I'm going to work on marketing that because nothing feels better than educating people on how to better recognize emergency situations for their pets or know what to do and get them the veterinary care that they need sooner rather than later. So then the other side is our instructor program. And I was like, okay, this is another aspect that people can add. Okay. So you're a pet sitter. You have a great client following, but nobody's traveling because they physically can't and it's not safe to.
Okay.
So, and you also have heard of all these people. We've all heard of people, pandemic puppies, everybody's getting kittens, cats.
I mean, think of the fostering and adoption going on at shelters, big and small, all over the country.
It's crazy. It's the amount of people that I've gone to private trains with that said, well, we were on a wait list for 4 months and we finally got our dog. And so there's no shortage of pets.
No. And they're keeping us humans from going whack, whack.
Yes. Yes. There's so many studies. I'm actually in the middle of a blog article that says how great pets are for our mental health, because I would be way crazier if I didn't have my household to keep me sane during the pandemic. But anyways, so as a pet business owner, I said to myself, okay, things are moving online. Well, you can take pet first aid and CPR instruction online. A veterinarian has done it with the course, and you can also become an instructor and do it. And now you have this client base of pet owners that you have pure access to. They're your intellectual property. Right. Not to mention, you can reach out to other professionals and say, hey, you, like me, might be in a downtime. This might be a great time to get your staff certified. There's all those things with it. And then kind of the third piece, so I have the Pro Pet Hero side. The third piece was my training. I got certified as a professional dog trainer just more for, I wanted to formalize my knowledge. I felt like I understood dog behavior, but I really wanted to be crystal clear and scientific about it.
Well, I just have to interrupt you there because in the latest article of Dogster magazine, you're one of my experts quoted.
So I really enjoy dog training, but I had never really, I was doing a few trains a year for clients that were like, where's my dog pulling leash? Or he's a chronic counter surfer. I'm like, well, I can help you.
Why is my dog humping my date?
Yeah. Yes, that does happen.
Yeah.
They're overexcited. That's a good one. Date that person. No, I'm just kidding. So anyway, I actually took some seminars on how to teach online, and it inspired me to get to others that you really can teach online. Even our instructors that take the course with you, Arden's our master instructor for Pro Trainings, which is the parent company of Pro Pet Hero. A couple of instructors have come to me and say, Cara, I really want to teach online, but I'm uncertain. I said, you learned online from Arden. First off,
bad jokes and all.
So are there benefits to in-person training? Absolutely. Are there benefits to online training? Absolutely.
Well, let's talk about that, because I think people think, oh, crap, I can't teach you in person, but I am a half full glass of whatever. I'm a licensed bartender, but I believe that you got to take what you have and make it the best it can be. So for me, it means I got to teach somebody from Egypt live in first aid that I never would have gotten to had it not been for Zoom. And I only regret that I never bought stock in Zoom in the fall of 2019.
I was doing trains in California. I'm Karen Pryor graduate, and they have this great portal, and they said for people to find you, put on there that you teach online. I said, sure. Okay. And I got a customer in California said, how'd you find me? And she said, oh, through the Karen Pryor Academy website. Cool.
So talk about some of the pros, because people were wanting to expand their knowledge base in the pet industry, and they think, well, I have to do it in person. Can we just nix that? Because I know there's vaccines coming, but it's going to be a little bit longer, and we got to pay our mortgages.
I tell everybody that signs up for your course that has any questions about learning online and will they be able to do it, I say, look, it's the same exact as learning in person, except for you can't touch people. That's it. In fact, I think you might see more details. A lot of times we can record the sessions and you can go back and watch them.
Yeah, that's nice.
It's really nice in case you miss something. So say you're in a class and you get a text. I know this happens to dog walkers, pet sitters, and daycare owners. Fifi broke out of her crate and, now there's a mess and we clean it up. And, you see that text. Now you've missed, 5-10 minutes of class. You don't know what you missed. You don't want to interrupt the instructor. When you're online, you can, those things still happen.
Yeah, it's called life.
Yes, I have
with
dings.
Your pet.
Yes, I have dings going on in my background, and hopefully Amazon doesn't pull up, because as a dog trainer, I should admit my dogs shouldn't bark, but they just might. So,
well, that just makes you a human. We love you.
Well, yeah, that, and I'm really good at finding the mute button.
Oh, that's good. Good.
Those are skills you learn teaching online.
Yeah.
So, anyways, it just allowed for such a broader scope and ability to learn when you can. So even though you take a scheduled online course, it's 9 to 5 Central Time on Saturday, you have to be present for that. But you can, when I know it's recorded, I'll check out a little bit sometimes. I'll be like, oh, okay. There's safety nets.
Yeah, that's a good point. That safety nets, yes.
Yeah. And for people that say, oh, well, you need to learn how to do compressions in person, What's the difference between you, Art, and watching somebody do compressions demos? We always tell people, set up your little table, have good lighting. What's the difference between that? You can still see the depth. You can still see hand position. The only thing is you're just not going to go over and touch their hands, which who wants to anyways? So,
well, if it wags or purrs, it's fine by me. But
exactly.
yeah. Well, the other thing is, and this is a Benny that you can't have in an in-person class for safety, liability, and adorability competition reasons. You cannot bring your personal pet to one of our licensed, insured, veterinary approved pet first aid classes in person, because we would be putting on our behavior hats on or collars and we wouldn't get anything done. That's why Kona and Casey, my cat and dog, they're insured under my policy, and they're therapy pets, and Kona, AKC, Canine Good Citizen. So these guys are used to being handled. But I like that on Zoom, I have met some incredible pets all over the world that would be like, no tail wagging way would I be in this classroom in a strange place. But I'm home with my mama or my papa parent, and I feel pretty relaxed. And they get a chance to really get to practice skills on their own pets in their own home. Tell us how important that is.
Well, not only is that super important because, so here's the thing from an instructor point of view and a pet owner point of view, because you're both, whether you're an instructor or not, your animal, your pet gets used to you touching them in those weird situations. So you have the chance to make it. I'm a positive reinforcement trainer. So one of the very important things to do is I always teach like a collar grab or, like touch the ears. I can literally touch my cat and do anything to her. And those are important because I've made that positive for her. I've done something she doesn't like, and I said, here's a cookie for it. And then we work on cooperative care where she's like,
well, that's how you've trained me. So yeah, I'm pretty good about that. All right. Cookies.
So here's another Benny of teaching online. I was fortunate, as you are with Kona. I had my first dog, Artie, and then, Tank, and then Artie. They were boxers. I could bring them in anywhere and people could do femoral checks on them. I could do the mild compressions just to show. I could put my entire face over their nose. Not recommended unless you know your dog. Please don't sue us.
And that's the time you hope they don't drool or sneeze.
Right. Let's just say dog noses are salty. I know that from firsthand experience. So anyways, but my point is they were exceptional dogs.
Right.
And I was not everybody's dog can do that. However, your dog doesn't know. They can see the screen, but they don't know that there's people present.
Right. They don't smell us.
Correct. And so if you can practice these behaviors, as a pet owner, so that when in an emergency or a weird situation, you need to perform these procedures, like rolling them over, checking for scrapes or scratches, or, listening to their breath, getting close, looking in between their paws, all of those things, your daily, you have your wellness checks, your weekly wellness checks. But anyways, so you can make that normal for your pet. And then say your dog is a shy dog or a shy cat. If you become an instructor, they don't know the screen's playing. You can still use that animal. Right. So I use Kit Kat. I brought in once and she was like, I'm making a face.
She's doing Bambi and headlight moves right there. Okay.
Yes. And so she she's a wonderful demo cat. I've literally put her in bags. I can do anything I want to this cat as I hold her up. She's like, ugh. But she's a great demo cat for online. I feel very comfortable showing things. And so that's the other thing too. If you're a student of any of these classes, just a pet owner that wants to take, say your local pet sitter has become an instructor and you're like, I've always wanted to take pet first aid and CPR from somebody I trust. You can take that class from them and you can practice on your own cat because your cat's like, it's just you, Mom. We're cool.
We're speaking with Cara Armour. She is the product manager for Pro Pet Hero. It's a division of Pro Training. So you got homework, guys, propethero.com and protrainings.com. And she's teaching us how we can get through this pandemic in a positive, or make that positive way. We're going to learn more after we take this commercial break. So this time we're going to sit, purr, and maybe knead. We'll be right back.
Time for a walk on the red carpet, of course. All Behave will be back in a flash right after these messages.
Hey, pet pals, Arden Moore here. Welcome to fall and winter. Now, this is a great time to take your dog on a hike in the woods, maybe go on a camping trip or a road trip. But just like us, changes in weather can actually impact the skin and ears of our dogs and cats. So if you got a pet who's scratching his ears, chewing on his coat, or rolling in mud, help is here. Zymox. For inflamed and itchy paws and coats, you can use the Zymox topical spray. For itchy and irritated ear issues, you can use Zymox enzymatic ear solution. And for bass, you can treat your dog or cat to Zymox shampoo and conditioners. Now, Zymox has been your pet's safe and trusted health ally for 20 plus years. So you can pick up Zymox at your veterinary clinic, most pet specialty stores, and online. To learn more, just visit Zymox.com. That's ZYMOX. Do it for your pet.
Let's talk pets
Let's talk pets
on Pet Life Radio.
Pet Life Radio.
PetLifeRadio.com.
Hi, this is Joyce DeWitt. You may remember me from Three's Company, inviting you to have the good sense to tune in to the adorable, amazing Arden Moore on Oh Behave on Pet Life Radio.
We're back from the lot. Just checked the paper and we had a record showing at the box. The letterbox, that is. Now back to Oh Behave. Here's Arden.
Welcome back to the Oh Behave Show on Pet Life Radio. I'm your host, Arden Moore. We're talking with Cara Armour. That's ARMOUR. Check her out. If you go to carmourconsulting.com, go on Facebook, and also go to propethero.com, you're going to find out what she is all about. She is on a mission to bring out the best in pets. That's by helping us humans. So we're talking about the need to teach pet safety and pet first aid. And I know I love being the instructor for the Pro Pet Hero program. I just think when people see the light bulb, COVID has made everybody camp out at home. And things like snack bag suffocation and Legos being swallowed. And you decide you want to be a crafty and your cat's got the needle and thread down the throat. I mean, there's a lot of things that are happening to our pets now, pumped up, when you say because we're stuck at home.
Well, yeah, let's talk about because we're stuck at home. So we always talk about holiday safety.
Yeah.
One of the issues is, and I'll touch on this briefly, is when you set up your Christmas tree and put out all your Christmas decorations, you just changed your pet's environment completely. Yep. First off, your cat's going, ooh, hoo, hoo. You just brought me a tree inside. And your dog's going, ooh, there's toys hanging from the tree.
And I got to pee on it too.
Yes. That's happened to us. So that's one time of year. So now imagine, just step outside your pandemic box for a second. We're at home. We might have different desks. We have different setups. I know I've started crafting.
See,
I have a whole table over here and it's got sticky stickers and vinyls and pokey tools everywhere. And I have a cat that, as you just saw, sits next to me. So we really have to think about not only the change in environment, but pets have natural curiosity. Yeah. And so they're going to check these things out. Are we keeping them safe? If you're baking or cooking more, there was a shortage of yeast. And if you were holding up on that, did you have that? My husband loves to cook with onions and I'm always making certain that he doesn't drop any. There's lots of things that we have to be aware of. And I think
I call them pet landmines.
Yeah. I think it's so important now, especially with pet ownership increasing. First off, pet owners should know about pet safety in general. And I'm noticing as I go to more training appointments and pet sitting and dog walking consultations, people are more aware. They all rattle off, I know they can't have grapes and they can't have raisins because raisins are grapes, and they can't have chocolate. And people are getting much more educated about xylitol, which is great. I went to one family's home and they had a printout of bad foods for their pet. So stoked about that. But there's more to it. Yes. And so we always panic. We're always like, well, if something's wrong with my dog, I'll just drive to the ER vet. Okay. There's an ER vet, Tufts Medical Center, which is one of the number one veterinary universities in the United States, is in my backyard. Good luck trying to get in. They were turning away emergency appointments because they were so inundated because pet ownership is up so much.
What did the last figure you saw?
700% over 2019.
Wow.
So that's in 1 year, the increase.
Wow. I've never heard that figure zoom up like that. Wow. Well, that shows the power of the paw. But the power of the paw means that we are committed to give that paw a little pulse and happiness and not injury. So many of us, raise your paw if you're sitting in a parking lot, probably right now listening to this podcast outside your veterinary clinic because you can't bring your pet into the exam room and you're waiting for the, hoping that the reception on your phone is not going to go dog, cat from the vet clinic. And then you meet them at the door with your pet and you don't know what happened, but you have to get your vaccinations. You have to do this. So what what are some things that, we're talking about this. This is a really big deal, Cara, because we feel helpless, but we shouldn't.
There's no reason to feel helpless because the education exists and we all seem to have a little bit more time on our hands. If you're working from home, you're not commuting. And unless your commute was 5 minutes, you've gained yourself some time during the day. So I got interested in training. I had become a certified trainer. I didn't feel confident training online. So I took some seminars on how to train online. I'm a pet owner. I have this animal. He seems to be limping. I don't know. His paw looks pink. I don't know. I took an online course on how to understand my dog's behavior better. The good news about the pandemic is people are more aware of issues with their pets. They are visiting the vet more, which is great.
Right.
But also, let's try and keep their stress down. Did you really need to go to the vet because they had a scab, or could you learn that those kinds of things?
Yeah. So how would you describe? I always tell people in my classes that pet first aid is not going to make you a veterinarian and is not going to replace veterinary care, but it's, to me, that bridge between the and the vet clinic. So how would you describe it?
I would say exactly the same. It gives me the confidence to know that I'm better at assessing when I need to go to the vet now versus, okay, let's document this. I noticed the gate was off on Tuesday. I'm going to video it. And then we're going to keep tabs on it because my vet at this point is going to tell me rest. And, unless it's an acute, not putting any weight and those kinds of things. Or I noticed that he was scratching his left ear. Okay, let's look inside. I don't see anything visual, but we're going to make note of it.
Oh, I found the Hope Diamond. I guess I'm really an optimist. Okay.
So those kinds of things. But then when you're like, my dog isn't eating, he's vomited, 4 times in the last hour.
Yeah.
We're going to make a call, those kinds of things. It just gives me the confidence to know, all right, this is something that I really, really need to pay attention to, or this is something I'm going to take a note of. I'm going to document. I document everything in my phone.
No, that's a good thing. You know what she's being, guys? And this is what we all need to be, a pet detective. That's a big deal. Sight, sound, smells, right?
Right. So this is an unusual place, but my little Debbie, my cherished little, number one agility champion.
She's not little. She's a mother of muscle.
We call her the mother of dragons.
Okay.
So, but anyways, she's wonderful, but she had a little growth by her anus. And I took her to my vet immediately. This might have been a slight overreaction. It came up overnight, but boxers are known for cancer. And so I wanted to know right away. And I got her into my vet. He's wonderful. He's a dear friend. And he said, it's a perianal adenoma, which is a benign overgrowth of the beehole tissue, to be less technical.
It's called O behave. You can say whatever you want here. Okay.
So then he said, watch it. Don't need to touch it unless it gets bigger quickly. Well, it got bigger quickly.
Okay.
So back I go. And indeed, he said, and I sent pictures. This is, if you can get this relationship with your vet, if you can get an email, send them emails. And I sent emails and I said, it's gotten bigger. And he said, I would agree. And he said, I would like to get that off before we need a specialist because it's very vascular, blah, blah, blah. So that's where I felt confident knowing that I'd rather people go in and get a bump checked earlier. You can get them aspirated and find out if it's cancer or not, rather than going, oh, it doesn't look bad. I'll wait a little bit. There's nothing worse than a vet hates when a person comes in with a 3-pound tumor and they're like, it just started last week. It's
liar. Yeah. I always tell people, you want the veterinarian to say, you don't want him to say, why did you wait too long? You'd rather have him say, everything's fine, but I'm glad you came in. So that's a good comment you want from, that's an atahuman from a veterinarian, right?
Yeah. And it's also less stressful when the growth or issue is less painful.
Yeah.
So yeah, pet first aid and CPR are not to replace veterinary care. They're to build confidence in your understanding of the care that your animal needs. And it just causes you to be more attentive.
Right. Well, talk about Pro Pet Hero, because I know there's different programs out there, and this is where you get a chance to do a little chest thumping if you want. But you and I have both taken a number of pet first aid programs.
I think pretty much all of them.
Yeah. So what makes Pro Pet Hero stand out like a Great Dane among a bunch of Chihuahuas? And I like Chihuahuas, so everybody back off. All right.
I was drawn to Pro Pet Hero because their course was the original course, the online, they hired a veterinary, an emergency vet who also teaches veterinary medicine at the University of Florida. So they hired a veterinarian that knew all of the intricacies and also knew how to save lives. But then my concern was, you hear that, you're like, oh, can this person talk in layman's terms? Because then you don't want to turn off a pet owner that's like, I just need to know the basics on how to wrap a wound and if my dog passes out, what to do. So she does it really well. So of course I watched that. And then I was like, oh, this is a great course. Then I got to know the company, and they're wonderful people with a heart of gold. And they're really all about, because lives matter and even pet lives matter. And they're trying, they were breaking into that market. And I contacted them. It's been over 4 years ago. And I was like, so what's your connection to the pet world? And they're like, none. And so I was like, you have one now.
That's why I love Cara Armour, guys. Look what
hold on. I'm going to bring you into this. So then I was enjoying myself, really marketing this program. And I felt like I was standing behind something. Keep in mind, I created my own online course. So I left my own online course to join Pro Pet Hero because they did it right and they did it well. And they, had a recording room to do stuff in. So
I think that's on your holiday list.
Yes. I would love a recording room. Yes. Where you can't hear my dogs. So
only the purring of Kit Kat.
Yes. Although she has deserted us because she says, oh, too much pandemic time. So I really liked what they were doing. And then they had a human instructor side. And I said, well, why don't we have a pet instructor set? And they said, well, what would that look like? And I said, it would look like Arden Moore. So, because I knew Arden, you just have a way of teaching and working with people that makes it is edutaining. It's fun and educational. And so I thought that Pro Pet Hero could really benefit from our insights in building this program together and really just, we had the framework of a successful human instructor program for human first aid and CPR. We built our pet program. It's quite different, but on the similar platform. And it's just really worked. And then we took pre-pandemic, we said, how can we get Arden everywhere? And
my last name is Moore, but it isn't clone. Okay.
Yeah. So then it became, we Zoom you everywhere. And so that's really,
we were kind of ahead of the curve.
We were really ahead of the curve. And a lot of it was figured out. Our first instructors, paws up to you guys. Cause you got a great education, but we might've fumbled on some of the Zoom stuff and figuring all that out.
They still talk to me, the first group, the beta class. So I'm happy.
Yeah. So I just, one of my goals is to make pet lives better. And I'm already with the dog walking business out there walking them as much as we can. With the training, I'm making certain that they're behaving so that their humans are happy with them. And, with the consulting, I'm making sure that people are running great businesses to care for animals in the correct way. And then with Pro Pet Hero, it's like I'm offering pet care professionals and pet owners the ability to not freak out when something goes wrong with their dog and not always just run to the vet.
Well, in my class, I tell people I'm giving each and every one of you permission to freak out later. And people are like, you see them go, oh, thank God. I got to scream. I got to have a shot of Fireball. I got to do something when it's all stabilized. So when people know that they can freak out later, what do you think? That's pretty good.
It's a great thing. And I've been through it firsthand. And one of the things I'm proud of, and I don't know, it's hard to train for this. I train my dogs for this. We do panic recalls.
Yeah.
We frequently see deer and I need my dogs to come back to me on a dime. So my husband and I will whisper each other, panic recall. And then we'll go, Walter, Debbie Phoenix. And we scream, come, like panic. Like I put panic in my voice. And so my dog's like, oh, this means we're getting a lot of treats for that one. And so I make it normal. So if you can try and normalize,
that's a good tip.
The collar grab in your house or something like that, because it does a couple things. You're practicing it. Mm-hmm. And I know you're not the adrenaline's not flowing, but your dog's at least hearing some abnormalities, or your cat. And so if I can give people that confidence that it'll be okay. And I've been through it. Let me tell you what happens. I'm proud of myself. I've handled several pet emergencies. I many times have gone to the veterinary clinic. We get them in, we get them situated. I talk to a few people. I'm as, clear and concise as I can be. And then I call my husband like this. And it's okay to be a mess later. You're expected to be a mess later. You just dealt with trauma. So know that it's okay for you to freak out. Just don't do it in the moment.
All right. Hey, we're wrapping up here, and I would be remiss, because this is one of my favorite subjects. There's this cool boxer. I know there's Walter, but we're going to put the spotlight on Debbie. So tell us a little bit about Debbie and you raised her. You bred her and raised her. And
I didn't breed her. I wish I bred
sorry.
Walter.
Okay, sorry. All right. But anyway, quickly just tell us, because you see the border collies and the Aussies and all these in the agility ring. We got a muscle mama in Debbie, a boxer, beautiful, beautiful boxer. I mean, for us mere mortals, I know you can put all these titles and names and la, but in essence, boil it down. How much rockin' is she in the dog agility world?
I pretty much think she can read numbers. The courses, we have to, memorize a course and get the handler team, the dog, around the course accurately without dropping bars and hitting the contacts, which are the yellow areas on the dog walker, A-frame, or seesaw. I got so lucky with this dog. I mean, I know I own the training, but when you have a dog that truly loves to be beside you and run beside you, I mean, I'm literally putting obstacles in her way and she takes them joyfully. It is a thrill. I encourage anybody. There are YouTube videos on how to start backyard agility.
Yeah.
You can Google, there's safe classes now. They've boiled classes down to really small, masked, sometimes outside, depending on where you live, but you can do them inside in a big building very safely. It's thrilling. Any sport trick. I'm also a CGC trick dog evaluator. I'm also a manners evaluator for the AKC.
CGC, folks, Canine Good Citizen.
Yes, okay. I basically watch people develop a relationship with their dogs and ask them or cue them. I like to say cue.
Good.
Cue them to do something. And the dog gleefully does it because the reward is there. And it's not always a cookie. Yeah. I can't give Debbie a cookie after every obstacle in agility.
You can give me one after. Debbie is like number one in, how would you describe her? Because you've been invited to the dance, the big agility dance.
Yes. And I have trepidations about traveling to Florida this time of year, but I'm going to tell you the AKC has made it safe. There are no public spectators allowed. Only the people registered. We have to sign our life away. We have to get our temperatures taken. We have to wear specific masks. We have to stay 6 feet away. We can't watch each other's runs. I mean, it will be an event where there's like 4 people in a ring at a time, and that's it. And I feel safe doing that. But I'm also bringing Debbie's son, Walter, who's a bit different. Debbie's very serious and calculated and very good at her job. Walter loves to visit people. I socialize him a little too much.
Well, maybe it's good that the ring will be very scarce of two-leggers.
Yes, but he loves judges. He loves to go.
Here's a couple of kibbles. Watch me closely.
Yeah, he's not as fast as he could be because he literally jumps up and, for any of you familiar with a boxer or working with boxers, he kidney beans. Yeah. That's where they bend in the shape of a kidney bean and wiggle.
Yep.
So he's known as the Walter Show. But yeah, so Debbie has broken all records. She's the first boxer to earn an agility grand championship, which is
that's impressive. That's really impressive.
Yes. She's the highest preferred agility championship boxer. She has her POC 5. We're on our way to POC 6. She's just, I had goals, and my first goals were like, get through the novice class. And then I've never had a dog or chance in my life where you constantly have to change goals and keep increasing them. Usually I lower my goals. I'm like, okay, let's lower that one.
Yeah.
But yeah,
well, this is great. So what's a wish you want to give everybody here, whether they have 2, 3, or 4 legs?
I would say peace. I think we've had so much anxiety and so much unknown, and we know there's a vaccine on the horizon. I know we have hope, but I want us to have peace. There's been so much uncertainty.
Yeah.
In so much that I want the restaurateurs to survive. I want the pet sitting businesses to survive, become an instructor. That's way to help. I just want everybody to hang on and be peaceful and use Zoom to visit with your family. Please, as I go down to Florida, I'm going to say I canceled Christmas. My family and I decided to be safe. It's safer to do this. Just be safe and have peace.
That sounds good. Hey, everybody, let's give pause and applause to our special guest, Cara Armour. Please check out propethero.com and her site, C Armour Consulting. So it's CARMOUR. Do it for me, please.
CARMOUR consulting.com.
And Facebook too. So she's pretty good there. I also want to give a shout out to my producer, Mark Winter. He is the executive director of Pet Life Radio. Guys, thanks to him, we are the longest and largest pet radio network on the planet. And this show, Oh Behave, has been on the air 13 years. We are the longest continuously running pet podcast. wow. Somebody named Oprah said, I like your show. So I'm going to name it one of my top 3 pet podcasts. So go there. We're going to get her someday on our show. It's my goal. I also want you to please realize I do teach a 2-day instructor program on how to become a pet first aid CPR instructor at
a really good one.
And every Wednesday nights, I go to the cats and I do on Facebook Live and Zoom Meowie Hour presented by the Cat Fancier Association with my co-hosts, my ginger boys, Casey and Rusty. So I hope you can tune into that. And I just did a facelift, not my face, but my website. So check out ardenmoore.com. So until next time, this is your flea-free host, Arden Moore, delivering just 2 words to all you 2, 3, and 4-leggers out there. Oh, behave.
Coast to coast and around the world, it's Oh Behave with Arden Moore. Find out why cats and dogs do the things they do and get the latest buzz from wagging tongues and tails in Rin Tin Tinseltown. From famous pet experts and best-selling authors to television and movie stars, you'll get great tail-wagging pet tips and have a fur-flying fun time. All Behave with America's pet edutainer, Arden Moore. Every week on demand, only on PetLifeRadio.com.